Hello you fantastic people, and welcome back to Borderlands 3, to a super exciting build video for you guys. I've been working on it for about a week to 2 weeks now, making the new Garcia flak build, level 53, that absolutely destroys the Maliwan takedown on Mayhem 4, and the main thing is, it is so fun to use. This build will pretty much work with every shotgun in the game, particularly Jacob's shotguns, but I'm going to be just showing off the Garcia shotgun in this build because it is literally so much fun, and I recently found it after it got buffed, I think about a week ago, and yeah, highly recommend this shotgun. But yeah, let's jump straight into the gear for this build. It is a moderate to high-end build, I would say, for the anointments and the legendary gear that you have to collect. If you guys are relatively new to the game and you want to get a bit of a lower tier one to start off with and then work your way up as you collect more and more legendary anointed gear, feel free to check the description down below. I have 3 other builds, 1 mobbing and 2 great boss destroying flak builds, which don't take anywhere near as much legendary gear, so feel free to check out those ones and then you can work your way back up to this one. But yeah, without further ado, this is the Garcia shotgun. It is not, unfortunately, the perfect of perfect shotguns. Trust me, there's a video coming out tomorrow and I'll explain the hassle I went through for that, but let's just jump past that for now. This shotgun does 394 times 12, but the anointment is what I'm all about. 100% weapon damage increase after action skill end, and that is a major factor with this build. Like, it is absolutely huge. There are a bunch of different variations for the Garcia shotgun, and it is super difficult to get the perfect one. Trust me, I farmed a lot for it. I'm going to keep going till I get it, but I want to show you guys this build because you literally don't even need it because the Garcia shotgun is that good. This one is 394 times 12, the absolute maximum damage one I've seen. Correct me if there's another one, but I've seen 477 times 16. I haven't been able to get it to drop with this anointment yet, but you can definitely get a times 16 pellet count, which is ideal if you can get it. Further down from that, you got 52% accuracy and handling 58%. I'd say pretty average for a shotgun. Fire rate is pretty damn quick with 4.3 bullets per second, and magazine size is the main factor with 20 bullets in the magazine. That magazine size with that fire rate as well is like the perfect combo. It's so much fun. You literally just spam bullets so quickly at such a good fire rate, and then it takes forever to run out of bullets, which is great. Further down from that, 10% increased critical hit damage is the one I managed to go on this one, which is a great extra bonus. Weapon accuracy is reduced, that's shotguns for you. Reload speed plus 19%. I've got a 2.6 second one. Generally, I think the 2.9 seconds is the standard one, so that's an added bonus that I got on my anointed one. There's a weapon zoom as well. The one I have has a scope. You can also get an iron sight or just no sight whatsoever, and it consumes 2 ammo per shot. And of course, we've already gone through the anointment. I also managed to get a times 16 with 412 damage per pellet, which is the extra damage on top of our main Garcia that we're using. So if we're not getting that extra anointment for weapon damage, at least the shotgun standard comes with more damage, which is good. And the lifesteal really helps with flak because he's obviously a struggle town when it comes to surviving the takedown. As for shield, I would recommend extremely highly the Transformer shield. It is so damn good. Ammo consumption is a huge thing with the Garcia. Absolutely goes ham because you're literally just having so much fun. You're not really paying attention to your ammo count, so you run out of it super quick. So a Transformer that has a 40% chance to absorb bullets, adding them back to your ammo count, super damn helpful. So I recommend getting one of those. If you can get an anointed one, that will increase your damage as well. If you're doing a Maliwan takedown, bonus corrosive damage is great. If you're versing regular bosses like a slaughter shaft, I'd go for incendiary damage. Either of those two are great options. For the grenade, the generator transfusion tracker is great. Elemental type, if you want to be doing damage with them, of course, you can specify it to what enemies you're versing. I honestly don't use it for the grenade. I just use it for the heals, 120% health damage dealt, which is great, and heals 30% shield damage dealt. There's one that has 60% shield damage. If you can get that, it's the perfect one. But I've got my current one because of the radiation bonus 50% on ASE for 10 seconds. These two in combination have to be different elements for them to work. You can't stack 2 corrosives or 2 fire or anything like that. So you want to definitely keep them separate so you have 2 different elements being procced at your ASC. Now, as for class mod, there's actually a few great options. Currently, I cannot get past my bounty hunter level 50 class mod. I still haven't upgraded because the god roll on the bottom of it is so damn good. If you guys can get anything close to this, you're gonna have a fun time, trust me. 25% weapon damage, 10% Jacob's weapon damage, and 45% Jacob's weapon crit damage. All of that combines to absolutely amp the Garcia so much more. So recommend getting as much of that as you can on your class mod. And it also has +5 Hunter's Eye perk. Apparently that was glitched for a while. I actually didn't hear about it until it had been fixed, but now it's fixed apparently, so that should work. Fingers crossed that's working for us for the future. And of course the class mod itself, Flak has a 3% chance to activate any purchase hunt skill while dealing gun damage, which we're always doing. And bosses are now treated as humans, beasts, and robotics, which is great considering we have 5 extra Hunter's Eye, which I'll explain in a second. Now as for alternatives, there's actually quite a few if it wants to load. There we go. Cosmic Stalker is a great option. Hunt skill power increase by 25% is great. That's currently the best god roll I have on the bottom right, so you can see it's nowhere near as much damage as my original Bounty Hunter, but if you guys can get closer or more with a Stalker mod, that's a great option. Alternatively, the Stack Bot from DLC 1 is a great option as well. Whenever Flak scores a critical hit, they gain increased weapon damage, which we're always hitting crits as much as possible in this build until they don't score a critical hit, and the effect stacks. We've also got the bonus points in there in our skill tree, which I'll explain later, which do a lot more damage as well. If I can get a better roll, this would probably be my main one I use, but currently it's only got Jacob's Weapon crit damage and the action skill cooldown, which of course still doesn't outclass my Bounty Hunter mod. Now moving on to Artifact, I'll likely never move past the Snowdrift Artifact. It is so damn good. I've got an auto one, which restores 18% of max health after killing an enemy. The main reason I use this is for survivability and speed. I always just want to zip around the map as quickly as possible, and I'm not about running at normal speed. So the increased slide speed of 102% is clutch. If you guys can get a level 53 one with a better roll at the bottom, it actually pumps it to 107, 109% slide speed, which is great. Currently using for the increased mag size and action skill cooldown rate, as you can see at the bottom there. Any bonuses you can get for shotgun damage, mag size, action skill cooldown rate, all super helpful perks. Now additionally, you can see we have a face puncher. Don't be intimidated by the great roll and the redundant prefix. You can have any kind of face puncher, and we're going to be using it to get our ammo back because the Garcia chews through it. When you match that with a cut purse artifact, it is such a good combo. You can melee enemies to steal ammo, which if you didn't already know, that face puncher does melee damage as a shotgun. So any of the pellets that hit with the face puncher, if you have a redundant one, that's 14 times per individual hit, which is great. 14 times 9 means you already have over 100% of your ammo back for your shotgun in one shot. If you just switch to it mid takedown and then shoot somebody once with the face puncher and then switch back out to your Snowdrift Artifact, you immediately have full ammo back in your Garcia, and you can continue on regardless of where you are in the takedown. It is so clutch. If you guys have any different suggestions for artifacts, that is just by far my favorite one, but if you guys have any ones that would benefit the builder more, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear you guys' suggestions. Now onto the skill tree for you guys. I'll try and run through it as quickly as possible while still making some English sense for you guys. Starting with the fadeaway ability is definitely the one you're going to be using it for this build. The critical hit damage by 200% whilst in fadeaway is nasty. You also get movement speed, health regen, and the cooldown is 45 seconds, but trust me, we're going to get rid of that real quick. And the action skill duration is currently 15 seconds. When we move down into Furious Attack, I'm going to put 5 points into this. Whenever shooting an enemy, Flak gains a stack of Furious Attack that increases handling and gun damage. When you have 5 points into it, that is 2% per stack. That's just for shooting an enemy, by the way. You don't have to kill them, it's just shooting an enemy. So you get that very, very easily. You get maximum 10 stacks, and they last 4 seconds each. But trust me, that is super easy to get max stacks of, and it immediately gets you extra damage. For survivability, you want to put 5 points into self-repairing system. That increases your max health and regen. It's 1.5% per second, which doesn't sound like much, but it all adds up, trust me. Next is Turntail and Run. You definitely want to put 3 points into this. It is a definitely worthwhile perk to have. While moving, Flak constantly regenerates health and gains damage reduction, which is super helpful in places like a Wotan fight where there's a lot of enemies and there's a lot of damage happening. You want to get that damage reduction plus the extra health regen. Again, 0.9% doesn't sound like much, but we're already adding that up with our other health regen up above. I always put a point into Lick the Wounds. It's always just a potential chance that the pet could keep us alive. You don't want to be restarting the Maliwan takedown if you get down by something stupid, or if you down yourself by a barrel, which is the main reason I die in the Maliwan takedown. So putting a point into this is definitely worth. As for next, you're going to put a point into either of these 4 perks. I personally put it in Overclock. We just need to put 1 point into it because it'll make 5 points to get us down to this next level here. By putting a point in Overclock, it increases your fire rate and increases it slightly more after reloading. It's not the biggest difference, honestly, it's only 2%, but I personally don't use attack command, so that one's not too useful for me. If you guys play with other people, I'm usually a solo player, that could be useful. Or if you want to keep your pet alive, I personally aren't the biggest fan of that one. And this one is also pretty useful. Kill skill reduces action skill cooldown rate, but personally I've had absolutely zero problems getting my action skill cooldown down like immediately, so that one I just leave alone and put a point into fire rate, because more bullets means more damage. Moving down to the final level of the green tree that we spec into is the fast and the furious. You want to put 3 points into this one, increases your gun damage and movement speed. With 3 points you get 25% and pet damage of 30%, movement speed 10%, all worthwhile perks to put 3 points into. Moving over to this one, Hidden Machine increases damage by 24%. You can put an extra point in there if you have a spare one in your skill tree somewhere to make it 30. I personally put 4 points into this one because whenever the enemy has no target or is attacking somebody else, you'll do increased damage by 24% or 30% if you have the max skill points into that one. Personally, I play it solo, so I actually use it for my pet. If you guys are playing with other people, it actually works even more because they'll be attacking the other players in the game and you'll be doing increased damage. If you guys are like me and are playing solo, this is where our augments come into play. The Not My Circus is actually perfect for this one. You'll notice we're not using Gorillas in the Mist, I'll explain that in a second. But using Not My Circus, after Fadeaway ends, Flak's pet will taunt, drawing the attention of all enemies in a huge radius. For the Maliwan takedown, that is clutch. It means they all start paying attention to him just after the fadeaway. So while you're in fadeaway, they can't see you. You're doing that increased damage for the 3 shots. And then when you're out of fadeaway, he's taunting everybody, so they're attacking him, not you, and you're still doing that extra damage until you get your action skill cooldown again, which is super quick. So it's pretty much just constantly a loop that no one's really looking at you unless you're really far away from your pet, or if he dies, but generally try and keep him alive. Now the reason we're not using Gorillas in the Mist like I've done for quite a few of my builds is because we actually want to end fadeaway as much as possible. We want to end fadeaway and then get it back, use it, end it constantly on the loop as quickly as possible in short time frames, because we want to be using our ASC anointments as often as possible. If we call back to our Garcia, we get an increased 100% weapon damage on action skill end. So if we get out of fadeaway, our shotgun is going to be doing an extra 100% damage. Also, Gorillas in the Mist reduces critical hit damage, unfortunately, where fadeaway does 200%. So if we're not using that, we're getting the full bonuses of fadeaway. You're also getting the extra points of Hidden Machine when you're using Not My Circus, and it's just a lot of damage amped into it as quickly as possible. On top of that, Unblinking Eye is a really good augment. Successive hits on the same target increase Flak's critical hit damage per hit. Unblinking Eye resets after every 3 hits. Crit damage 75, not 35, 75% per hit, which is a lot of damage. Fadeaway is for 3 shots when you're not using Gorillas in the Mist. So those 3 shots are doing crazy amounts of damage, then you're getting crazy amounts of damage after your action skill, and it's just a loop of crazy amounts of damage, and that's great. Moving on to the blue tree, it is super simple. We're not speccing too far into this one. We want to put 3 points into a Persistence Hunter, if I pronounce that right. Regardless, gun damage and action skill duration is increased. Gun damage by 12% for 3 points, and action skill duration by 45%, which is really good for things like health regen. If you want to take a moment, get into fadeaway, the enemies won't be attacking you, they'll be attacking your pet. You can get some health regen back before you're ready to go back into the fight. You also have time to reposition yourself. In the Wotan fight, I use it to try and get into the shields without being attacked by other enemies and get into the perfect line before I absolutely go ham with the Garcia. Moving on to the red tree, there is a lot going on here, but you want to put 3 points into Leave No Trace immediately. It's a great perk whenever you're using Jacob's shotguns, particularly with Flak. Whenever you score a critical hit, there's a chance for 1 ammo to be added to the magazine with a 36% chance. That is hella good, and the higher pellet count weapons proc that even more, which is excellent. If you get a times 16, you're going to be coming in clutch with it. Leave No Trace. You want to be adding as much ammo back into that gun as possible, because trust me, you're chewing through it quick. 5 points into Interplanetary Stalker is next. Whenever Flak kills an enemy, they gain a stack of Interplanetary Stalker. That increases your damage. Per stack is 10%, which is a lot of damage. There's a maximum of 3 stacks, which is 30% when you have maximum stacks. I actually watched back a recording of the Maliwan takedown that I just did with this build, and I actually had 3 stacks the entire time all the way through, which is excellent. So I definitely recommend putting 5 points into this one. Your pet also gets bonuses: robot corrosive damage, action skill damage against humans, and 7% movement speed after killing beasts. So all of those are great bonuses to have. Moving on to Hunter's Eye, of course I have an extra 5 points into this by my class mod. I understand that's a super rare class mod to have, so if you don't have this, still recommend putting 5 points into it. It's still great. With 10 points, you get 30% humans, critical hit damage, which is just phenomenal against the Maliwan Takedown. The armor damage, 60% against robots, again, great for Maliwan Takedown. And damage reduction versus beasts isn't usually great, but remembering calling back to our class mod, bosses are now treated as humans, beasts, and robotics for Flak's hunt skills. So all of these bonuses apply to bosses. You're also getting that damage reduction there, which is clutch. Of course, if you don't have a class mod with bonus Hunter's Eye, just half all of those bonuses, and they're still pretty significant bonuses. Moving over to head count, you want to definitely put 3 points into this. This is the main thing. We want to try and get our action skill back as quickly as possible, as often as possible. Whenever Flak scores a critical hit, which is all the time in this situation, there is a chance the action skill cooldown is reduced. Honestly, probably maximum 5 seconds is the longest time you wait for your action skill duration. If there's somebody to shoot in the face, you're getting your action skill back as quickly as possible, because there's a lot of pellets hitting a lot of critical hits. There's ricochet abilities with the Jacob shotgun. You're pinging a lot of criticals and you're getting that back really, really quick. Two Fang isn't super necessary for a shotgun with a high pellet count. You'd only be getting an extra projectile on top of 16 or 12, which isn't the biggest of difference. Plus, there's only a 25% chance when you put 5 points into this skill. So I recommend skipping this one and moving down to big game. Put 3 points into this. Hunter skill duration is increased by 100% and skill effects increased by 30%. Definitely worth doing. Chuck in 3 points to most dangerous game. I think I underrated this one in my last build. I definitely recommend putting 3 points into this because I have it all the way through the Maliwan Takedown. Like I said, I checked back that recording. It did not leave once because it's actually for a long time. All of these bonuses last for so long. Whenever Flak kills a badass or stronger enemy, which if you've done a Maliwan Takedown, Mayhem 4 or a Slaughter Shaft, that's probably like 1 in 3 enemies, honestly, so it's super easy to get. They gain increased crit damage, gun damage, and handling. Gun damage by 25%, critical damage by 10%, and handling, not the biggest deal, but 33%. I guess when you have a shotgun, that's only 50% handling. Probably does come in handy, honestly. I should also mention that pet damage is increased by 27%, so if you're using your pet more often than I am, he's also doing increased damage. And the duration is 1 minute and 20 seconds. So if you're not killing at least 1 or 2 badass enemies every 1 minute and 20 seconds in the Maliwan Takedown, you're going quite slow. You should probably speed up a little bit. No, but seriously, you'll easily be able to do that. Don't worry, you'll definitely keep 3 stacks of this all the time. Moving on, I put 1 point into a Galactic Shadow. Flak deals increase critical hit damage and enemies are less likely to attack them. Increase crit damage by 15%. That also lines up with Hidden Machine that we were talking about in the green tree. Whenever enemies aren't attacking us, we're doing that increased damage. So that helps on top of that again. Moving over to Grim Harvest, I put 2 points in this, honestly, just to get to the next level. So you can move 2 points wherever you want in the skill tree. If you've got some extra you want to spend somewhere else, feel free to do that. But I'm trying to get down to a Mega Vor. This gives me an extra 6% gun damage, action skill damage, and pet damage. So a little bit of extra bonus there. Why not? Mega Vor is definitely key with this build. Flak gains a chance to score a critical hit with weapons against any part of enemies. So with 16 pellets, if you have the max damage one, or even 12, you're not hitting the crit spot on a small enemy all the time. So there's a little bit of extra pellets that are hitting maybe around the chest or the arms. You've got a 20% chance to hit a critical hit, which helps a lot with many things, primarily getting your action skill back as quickly as possible. Of course, you're doing more damage there as well, and you're just proccing a lot of Flak's other abilities, which is key. So definitely put a point in Mega Vor. Oh yeah, and I almost totally forgot the pet situation for my Flak build. I'm personally currently using the Gunslinger Jabber. You can choose so many different ones, but my reasoning behind this one, it gives me increased critical hit damage, which is great, by 5%, movement speed by 5%. Also, bonus of doing the Maliwan Takedown with him, he shoots at range rather than just running at Wotan's feet and getting stomped on, so that's a good choice. You can go movement speed by 5%, max health by 10 if you want to choose the Beefcake Jabber. You can also choose a Skag that has 5% just regular damage if you're not getting as many crits. And also I do this Spider Ant count test even regularly for the damage reduction and health regen. Alternatively, there's also elemental damage. Depends on what kind of weapons and how your playstyle is, but pretty much honestly any of the pets work. You just want to be amping as much damage for your playstyle as you can. But yeah, I just realized we went through the entire skill tree. That is the entire build in itself with all the weapons. Hope you guys found this video helpful or enjoyable. If you did, feel free to smash subscribe down below. You guys have been loving the build video, so I thought I'd bring back another one, which is a super fun gun build itself. The Garcia is a lot of fun to use, and it is just a great shotgun itself. It does a lot of damage. So if you guys did enjoy this one, don't forget to smash subscribe, hit that bell. YouTube will notify you whenever I post a video. And if you guys want to like it and share the video so other people can see this great build, I'd really appreciate that. If you guys have any suggestions for variations in this build, feel free to comment them down below. Also, just a quick shout out to my Twitch channel. If you guys didn't already know, I've been streaming daily on Twitch. If you guys want to check it out, it'll be linked in the description down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys want to smash a follow over there. We're actually one day away from being, well, at least getting the requirements for affiliate on Twitch, which is super exciting. So if you guys want to come and join, that would be awesome. I will be streaming it today after this video goes live. So if you're watching it from when it gets posted, feel free to come over and check out the build in action. But if you guys are watching this a little bit later, I will be posting a video of me doing a true takedown run on Mayhem 4 with this build later on, probably tomorrow, whenever I can get it uploaded for you guys. Oh yeah, and I almost totally forgot, I am actually going to be posting a PC game save file for this character, which will have all the weapons, class mods, artifacts, all that fun stuff in there if you guys would like to use it and test it out for yourselves. Of course, it's not perfectly completed, so if you guys want to start with that one and work for the better stuff, you're more than welcome to do it. Unfortunately, if you're on console, there's no way to transfer game saves and files and stuff across consoles yet, unfortunately. If you guys want to leave comments down below to trade weapons and stuff with other people in the community, Borderlands 3 community is pretty damn dope with doing that, so feel free to do that. Or come into the live stream and ask around if anyone's got the good stuff to transfer / trade with you. Also, on top of that, I know there's a lot of information in this video. I try and cover as much as I can each video because I know there's a lot of different varying people that watch the videos. For example, like new people, moderate, Borderlands 3 players, and veterans of Borderlands. So I try and cover as much as I can. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. I happily answer all my YouTube comments. I usually get around to at least 90% within the first 24 hours. But yeah, that's everything I have for my level 53 flak Garcia shotgun critical hit damage, just mobbing machine build. Hope you guys do enjoy the build. Let me know how you go in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your opinions and your experiences with the build. And yeah, I shall see you guys in the next video, or if you want to come over to the live stream, don't forget to be linked in the description. I shall see you guys next time. Till then, hope you guys have a great day, and adios.